The Windsill, a rocky ridge, stretches in a great curve from Westmoreland to the Northumbrian coast just south of the border. Win means hard, tough, dark rock. Its toughness defeated the Roman masons. So Hadrian's wall was built of the softer freestone, which is found everywhere on the moors, and rough, unshaped blocks of whinstone were used to form its core. Centuries later, explosives were invented. For the first time, a tool was found strong enough to deal with the whinstone. So quarrymen came to join the shepherds on the moors.
I suppose you might say a shepherd's dog is one of man's oldest tools.
Yes, and it takes generations to breed a good sheepdog. First of all, the puppy has got to have the right blood in him. The instinct that makes him herd the farmhouse chickens as soon as he can walk. Then he has to develop this instinct in the right direction by working as an apprentice with a trained dog. Northumbrian sheepdog trials are great local events. So is Bellingham Fair. It was originally the hiring fair, when shepherds came down from the hills with 6 months' money in their pockets. The fair lasted for only 1 day, but the inns were open all the time. It's tamer now, but country recreations still flourish a dozen miles from Newcastle. There are grouse on the moors, foxes in the woods, and trout and salmon in the river. But before North Tyne meets South Tyne at Warden, just above Hexham, the first signs of industry appear. At Forston's mill, they turn straw from the farms into paper. The mill was built a century ago, when water power was the cheapest and most efficient. Now, coal and electricity have superseded water, but the mill is still dependent on the Tyne. It takes 30,000 gallons of water to make a ton of paper.
Yes, I suppose it has brought work and prosperity to Warden. But you know, I wonder if sometimes people don't regret the old days before the river was used for power or electricity came, before there was a mill or a factory on North Tyne or South Tyne, from the highest little burn to the meeting of the waters.
You can't put the clock back, and paper for 1,000 different uses is one of the essentials of our 20th century. Just as the chemicals are, they make it thorough. Chemicals for industry and agriculture, and for explosives too. Castle on the cliffs above the river was built in the 12th century. It's no defense in the 20th. The guns they make at Elsic on Tyne are, and until we finally come to our senses and don't have to make guns, we shall have to have explosives to fire them. Often you can hear their voices from the testing ranges on the moors above. Here's a very different kind of Tyneside village. The men who live here work at one of the hardest and most dangerous jobs of all, coal mining. Coal was shipped from Newcastle to London as far back as Queen Elizabeth's reign. 1/6 of all the coal mined in Great Britain comes from Northumberland and Durham. The pitmen are a race apart from other Tynesiders, with a way of life of their own. Their conditions, their homes, their washing arrangements differ from pit to pit, but they share a common identity formed by danger, hard work, and an enthusiasm for their own pastimes. Most pits have their brass bands, and colliery bands make a habit of winning national contests. And every village has its leek club. You can't buy seed for these monster leeks in any shop. It's the pitman's secret. One of their favorite hobbies is breeding racing pigeons. And their favorite games are kites and bowls and, of course, football. 21% of all British professional footballers come from the Northumbrian clubs. The coal these pitmen hew has changed the whole face of Lower Tyne in the last 2 centuries. Stephenson, who invented the locomotive, lived in this cottage. His first steam engine was used at Killingworth Colliery. Its success made modern railways possible. Now a network of rails links the moorlands, villages and market towns, the mills and the mines, to the great centre of Northumbrian life, the city of Newcastle.
Why should I not love my love? Why should not my love love me? Why should I not speed after him, since love to all is free? There's of the stouter yeoman that tread the every more. There's not a heart more constant, more gentle, or more...
1.5 million Tynesiders make Newcastle the greatest city of northeast England. 292,000 live and work there. Charlton the boilermaker, Fenwick the riveter, Armstrong, who works in the heavy engineering shop, and Foster, who is home again from service with the 50th Northumbrian Division in Africa and Italy, and who landed with them on the Normandy beaches on D-Day. Newcastle, with its roots deep in the past, the castle was built to guard the river in 1172. Newcastle in the present, the busy hub of a huge productive area. Newcastle and Tyneside hard at work today in the shipyards and the foundries, rendering their full contribution to Britain's wealth and strength and glory.
free.